It should sound impossible how these games didn't end up as complete blowouts, considering Nuggets field goal percentage is 50.8% and Jokic's averaging 30.8 points, 13.5 rebounds, 8 assists per game on essentially 55, 44, 88 shooting splits. Murray is also averaging 23.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, 10.5 assists per game, and also extremely efficient shooting on 46, 42, 93 shooting splits. But the Heat barely won Game 2 by 3 off a 48.6% three-point shooting, even though Nuggets shot a respectable three-point percentage of 39.3% and had a higher field goal percentage of 52%. It was clear threes are worth more than twos, and with defensive collapses from the Nuggets, Heat got many open looks from three that they were able to capitalize on and win, unlike in Game 1, where their open threes were simply not falling. Kyle Lowry has always played with great pace, and even when given the opportunity to this series, has been the one to put the Heat up. In Game 1, Lowry was the only Heat player to have a positive plus-minus when he was on the floor.
I think Kyle played great. If you look at when he came into the game, the pace, the rhythm, he got people a lot of shots because he started pushing the ball with pace, and he started probing. He kept making the Denver defense collapse, and the guys that come off the bench, Duncan Robinson and others, they're continuously moving, and Kyle was finding them for layups and wide open shots. I think Kyle, when he plays, he's got to continue that pace, and you got to get guys to run and move with him. He will find you because Kyle is smart, he's crafty, and if you don't body him, Earl, he'll sneak inside the defense and hit you with a couple of up and unders and score in the paint.
Kevin Love also needs to play more. His outlet passes and versatility to shoot early upfront threes before their defense sets up was big in their Game 2 win. Love also helps with the pace change and control and adds a new, unpredictable dynamic to the way they play when he's on the floor. In order for the Heat to win, they need to dictate the pace in their favor. Even though Love went from not playing Game 1 to starting Games 2 to 4, he needs to play more minutes, as he's only averaging 18.8 minutes per game this series. Playing Love more may help, especially playing him in unique roles like bringing the ball up similar to Bam in the Bucks series. Kevin Love is a great passer too, and with Gabe Vincent really struggling these last two games, it's worth the shot. In their Game 2 win, Kevin Love had a plus-minus of plus 18 even when he struggled with shooting that game. Out of their key rotation players that average over 18 minutes per game, Lowry and Love averaged the best plus-minus from the Heat this series. It might also be time to start Kyle Lowry next game, as we don't know which Gabe Vincent will see to start off Game 5 where they're facing elimination. The Heat don't have any room for error now. Another player that will really help them set the pace is Tyler Herro, who should have been available to play for a while now. Spo's reluctance to not play Tyler Herro in the NBA Finals is somewhat understandable considering they got this far without him, but Herro's had great control and pace when he plays. He reads and exploits defenses to put up his almost all-star numbers. Herro, especially considering he hasn't played for a while, is another unpredictable player that can change the dynamics of their pace and control the series. The Heat have become predictable, and playing these players in different permutations of these players and combinations could throw the Nuggets defense off and win the game. While the shooting splits from Denver may not indicate their struggles, Miami has managed to play solid defense and control the series in terms of pace up to Game 3. This has come at the expense of the Nuggets, who prefer to push the tempo and attack in transition. Entering Game 3, the Nuggets were averaging just 106 points, which is 10 points below their playoff average entering the finals. While the Nuggets aren't a bad half-court team, the pace is where they're having their biggest issues, especially with the Heat's defensive strategy. We want to play fast, they want to play slow, Malone said. We're playing way too slow, which is forcing a lot of late shot clock situations for us. In Game 1, the Nuggets had many defensive lapses where the Heat had 16 uncontested three-pointers, but the Heat failed to capitalize on those. The Nuggets then lost Game 2 from poor three-point defense, but have since tightened it up on their three-point defense and won the last two games. What's misleading is while Malone thinks the Heat play slow, they actually constantly change and play around with the pace of the game. They accelerate and decelerate whenever they want to. The Heat in Game 1 shot 96 shot attempts, while the Nuggets attempted only 79 shots. That's a shot attempt difference of 17. Game 2 was closer, with the Heat shooting 78 shot attempts to Nuggets 75. Even in the Game 3 blowout, the Nuggets attempted 80 shot attempts while the Heat attempted 92, a 12 shot difference. The real issue was the Nuggets shot 51.2% in field goal, while the Heat shot only 37% field goal. The Nuggets shoot more efficiently though. What's interesting is you have to consider how are these games not ending up in much bigger blowouts. The Nuggets out-rebound, assist more, steal more, block more than the Heat on average this series. They even shot far better in field goal percentage and even in three-point percentage. The Nuggets attempted 90 free throws, while the Heat attempted 61 free throws so far this series. But despite all this, the Heat have forced the games to end up fairly close by their sheer volume of shot attempts. They understand the pace of the game, always aiming to close out each quarter with the shot attempt, timely rebounding, and by this numbers game, they'll hang on close to the Nuggets in scoring quarter by quarter by limiting their shot attempts and shooting as much as possible. Even with the much lower field goal percentage, they're able to keep the score close with the hopes they can pull through in the fourth quarter. One thing the Heat do really well is not turn the ball over. The Heat's pace looks slow, but they put up a lot of shot attempts quickly. This change of pace off timeouts and the way they dictate the pace of each game and the series is throwing the Nuggets off, leading to late shot clock shots and even shot clock violations. The Heat rarely make mistakes and control the flow of the game to stay close enough to pull through and make a comeback and momentum shift in the fourth quarter, as we saw in their Game 1 rally and comeback that forced a Nuggets blowout to Jokic still having to play over 40 minutes. In this NBA Finals, the Heat have won the fourth quarter in Game 1 and 2. In Game 3, despite the Nuggets playing their stars a lot more, they only won the fourth quarter by 1 point. In Game 4, the fourth quarter battle was also tied. If you really want to simplify the first two games, in the first three quarters, we have dominated both games. Nuggets coach Mike Malone said, "The Miami Heat are dominating the fourth quarter. They're averaging 33 points, shooting 60% from the field and over 50% on threes. We're up 8 points going into the fourth quarter of Game 2, up 21 going into the fourth of Game 1. The Nuggets built momentum and had a good lead that was enough to win Game 1 despite the fourth quarter scoring deficit. The Heat rallied but fell short in Game 1, but then overwhelmed Denver in the fourth quarter of Game 2 and won the game with the leadership of Jimmy Butler, one of the NBA's most reliable fourth quarter players. As mentioned earlier, with the idea of Kevin Love bringing the ball up similar to Bam in the Bucks series, check out my other video with evidence of this play design and why teams have struggled to double Jimmy this playoffs.